Today, we're diving into the most underrated cars of the 21st century. You won't believe that. Number 4 on this list is a family sedan with an 8-cylinder engine. Let's check them out. Number 1. Honda S2000. Let's talk about one of the coolest yet most underrated cars of the 21st century, the Honda S2000. This little roadster first hit the streets in 1999, and honestly, it's a car that deserves way more love than it ever got. Honda built it to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and they didn't just slap together a basic sports car. They went all out to create something truly special. Now, let's start with what makes the S2000 so awesome, the engine. Under the hood, you've got a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder, and here's the crazy part. It cranks out 240 horsepower without any turbo or supercharger. That might not sound like much compared to today's sports cars, but back then, it was mind-blowing. It was the most powerful naturally aspirated engine for its size. And let's not forget the red line. This thing revs all the way to 9,000 RPM. Yep, it screams. If you read the kind of driver who loves to push a car to its limits, the S2000 is your dream ride. But it's not just about the engine. The S2000 was built for people who love driving. It's got 50:50 weight distribution, which is a fancy way of saying it's perfectly balanced. Whether you're carving up twisty mountain roads or hitting the track, it feels like an extension of you. Plus, VTEC speed manual gearbox. Oh, it's buttery smooth, one of the best manuals ever made. Now, let's talk about looks. The S2000 is clean. It's got that long hood, short rear, and sleek lines that make it look fast even when it's parked. And the interior? Simple, but all about the driver. The digital dash was futuristic for its time, and everything was right where you needed it. No distractions, just pure focus on the road ahead. So, why wasn't the S2000 a massive hit? For starters, it lived in the shadow of the Mazda Miata, a cheaper, easier to live with alternative. And sure, the Miata's great, but the S2000 was in a league of its own. The problem was, the S2000 demanded a lot from its driver. If you weren't ringing out that high-revving engine, you might have thought, what's the big deal? Add to that a firm ride that wasn't exactly commuter-friendly, and it didn't win over everyone. But here's the thing, car enthusiasts get it. Over time, the S2000 has become a cult classic, and its value has been climbing on the used market. People are realizing this car was ahead of its time, a true driver's car that captured the spirit of what a sports car should be. If you've ever dreamed of owning a car that's as much about the journey as the destination, the Honda S2000 deserves a spot on your list. It's fun, it's fast, and it's one of the greatest gifts Honda ever gave us. Number 2. Pontiac G8. Alright, let's shine a spotlight on a true underdog of the car world, the Pontiac G8. If you've never heard of it or just haven't given it much thought, you're not alone. This car had a very short run, but man, it deserved way more attention than it got. Let's talk about why the G8 was secretly one of the coolest sedans of the late 2000s. First off, the G8 was Pontiac's way of saying, hey, we can do performance too. And they absolutely delivered. Built on a platform from General Motors' Australian division, Holden, the G8 wasn't your average American sedan. It had a bit of Aussie muscle car DNA. That means it was stylish, powerful, and, most importantly, ridiculously fun to drive. Now, let's get into the good stuff. The G8 came with a couple of engine options, but the star of show was the G8 GXP. This bad boy had a 6.2-liter V8 under the hood, the same LS3 engine you'd find in a Corvette, with 415 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of about 4.5 seconds. This wasn't just fast for a sedan, it was fast, period. And if you were a true enthusiast, you could even get it with a 6-speed manual transmission. How many sedans offer that kind of thrill? But the G8 wasn't just about raw power. It also handled surprisingly well for its size. Thanks to its balanced chassis and rear-wheel drive setup, it felt more like a sports car than a family sedan when you tossed it into corners. And the ride? Smooth and comfortable, making it perfect for long road trips or just cruising around town with a big grin on your face. Now, the design, let's be honest, the G8 was a pretty good-looking car. It had a bold, aggressive stance that screamed performance, but it still managed to look refined enough top arc in the office lot without raising eyebrows. The interior was spacious and well-equipped, too, with all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a modern car at the time. So, why didn't the Pontiac G8 become a household name? Timing. The G8 debuted in 2008, right before Pontiac shut its doors for good in 2010. The brand's closure wasn't the car's fault. It was just a casualty of General Motors restructuring during the financial crisis. That meant the G8 barely had time to make its mark before disappearing from dealerships forever. Despite its short life, the G8 has gained a bit of a cult following. Enthusiasts love it for its mix of practicality and performance, and you'll often hear people call it the four-door Corvette. Its also becomes something of a hidden gem on the used market, offering a ton of bang for your buck if you can find one in good condition. Number 3. Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution X. Number 3 on our list is a car that's an absolute legend in the rally world but still somehow flies under the radar for a lot of people. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution X, or EvoX if you're in the know. This car was the grand finale for Mitsubishi's Evo lineup, and boy, did they go out with a bang. The EvoX hit the streets in 2008, and right off the bat, it was clear this wasn't your average Dan. Under the hood, it packed a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine, the legendary 4B11T. It cranked out 291 horsepower and 300 pound-foot of torque, which made it a beast for its size. But here's the thing, it wasn't just about raw power. What really set the EvoX apart was the way it used that power. Thanks to Mitsubishi's Super All-Wheel Control SAWC system, the EvoX was a masterclass in handling. This tech gave it incredible grip, letting you carve through corners with precision, whether you were on a twisty mountain road or a rain-soaked highway. And the best part, it made you feel like a rally driver, even if you were just running to the grocery store. The EvoX also gave you options. If you were a purist, you could go for the 5-speed manual transmission, which was an absolute joy to roll through. If you wanted something a bit more modern, there was the SST Sport Shift Transmission, a dual-clutch automatic that delivered lightning-fast shifts. Either way, the driving experience was pure excitement. Now let's talk about the looks. The EvoX had an aggressive, no-nonsense design that let everyone know it meant business. That big front grille, wide stance, and iconic hood scoop wear and tee just for show. They were functional, helping with cooling and aerodynamics. And, of course, you can't forget the massive rear wing. Love it or hate it, it was part of the Evo's identity. Inside, the EvoX wasn't exactly luxurious, but it didn't need to be. It was built for driving, plain and simple. You got supportive Recaro seats, a sporty steering wheel, and gauges that kept you focused on what mattered. No distractions, just you and the road. So, why is the EvoX underrated? Well, it came out during a time when Mitsubishi was starting to pull back from the performance market. The competition was fierce, with rivals like the Subaru WRX STI grabbing a lot of attention. Plus, the EvoX was the last of its kind. Mitsubishi decided to end the Evolution line in favor of more practical vehicles, which left enthusiasts heartbroken. But here's the thing, the EvoX has aged like fine wine. Its mix of performance, technology, and rally-inspired heritage has made it a favorite among car enthusiasts. If you're lucky enough to own one, you've got a piece of automotive history in your garage. And if you've ever dreamed of founding a car that can handle just about anything you throw at it, the EvoX is still one of the best options out there. Number 4, Chevrolet SS. The Chevrolet SS is one of those cars that makes you wonder, how did this fly under the radar? Released in 2014, the SS was a performance sedan that offered a serious punch, but somehow didn't get the love it deserved. If you're a fan of muscle cars, you've probably heard of the Camaro and the Corvette. But the SS? It's one of those cars that didn't get the spotlight it deserved, and that's a real shame. The SS was a four-door sedan, but don't let that fool you. It was a serious performer. Under the hood, it packed a 6.2-liter V8 engine, the same one found in the Camaro SS, pushing out 415 horsepower and 415 pound-foot of torque. This thing could go from 0 to 60 in just about 4.7 seconds. Not bad for a family sedan, right? But here's what made the SS even cooler. It wasn't just about the power. It had area-wheel drive setup, a 6-speed manual transmission, and magnetic ride control for as smooth yet sporty ride. It had the performance chops of a muscle car, but the comfort of a sedan, perfect for long drives or everyday use. And let's talk about the design. Sleek, subtle, and definitely aggressive enough to turn heads without being obnoxious. So, why didn't the SS get the love it deserved? Well, it came out at a time when Chevrolet was shifting focus, and not everyone understood what the SS was all about. It was a true sleeper, looked like a family car, but drove like a performance machine. Sadly, its production was cut short in 2017, which means they are getting rarer to find now. But if you're lucky enough to spot one, the Chevy SS is a fantastic reminder of how much performance you can pack into a sedan. It's an underrated beast that deserves a lot more love than it gets. And there you have it, the most underrated cars of the 21st century. Whether it's the rally-bred, EvoX, the high-revving Honda S2000, the family sedan Chevrolet SS, or the muscle-packed Pontiac G8. These cars all brought something special to the table but didn't always get the recognition they deserved. Now it's your turn. What's your favorite underrated car? Is it one of these three? Or do you have another hidden gem in mind? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your picks. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps more car fans find this content. And if you're all about cars, from forgotten legends to iconic favorites, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.